What's up people? How's it going? Looking at the lens, not myself, because I am touching my hair way too much in my videos. People are commenting. Not touching my hair again. So I am gonna make this very short because this gal has to edit the video tomorrow so I can publish it the day after. So the shorter the clip, the shorter the effort, and hopefully not that short of outcome. Anyway, it all depends on you. Anyhow, I'm gonna make this short, but this is about my traumatic freaking experience that I've had in my last travel. Look, I haven't traveled that much, but I have traveled a few times to go back home, basically, from Sydney to Nepal. And this was the one last time, and it has pretty much been really traumatic. And also, you know, one of those things that like when you were in the moment, you were like swearing your ass off because you were like going crazy and you were like telling people off, like shut the F up, don't come close to me. And then looking back, you think about it, it's like, pretty hilarious, you know? Oh, okay, cool. But no, in the moment, you're not actually that happy. This is the moment when I actually start swearing off, like swearing my ass off, like I didn't care. I was like, go get burned, go get slayed, like you eat shit, everybody eat shit. That was me. And this only happened because my airline screwed me over. Actually, technically didn't screw me over. It screwed the person that I was going with over, and I just got into this mesh, you know? Like, I shouldn't be in that mesh, but I put myself in the mesh because I like to be in people's mesh. Anyhow, so this all started in December 2019. What a timing, because 2020 was looking at me saying, okay, I see you, girl. I'm gonna come closer. And I'm gonna give you the taste of 2020. It starts there. It starts in 2019 December. I'm going home to my lovely family that I haven't seen in 2 years. Hey, mama, papa, coming for Christmas with somebody. And you know, we had booked this ticket like 3 months in advance, you know, obviously because it's Christmas and you have to buy it early to get that cheap price. Pretty much this airlines that I bought with, you can probably tell how cheap they were. It was by Air China. Very cheap, very cheap. Thank you very much. Okay, we are on that day, we're lining up, we're coming closer to the line, and we're like the last few people as well. And in my head, I'm like doing all this mind game, like I'm not gonna think about anything in this environment because airports, they freak me out. There's something in that air that does not make me happy. It's like everybody's in a lookout, everybody's like, hey, you got something in there? Take it out. Hey, why are you stepping out the boundary? You shouldn't be stepping out. Hey, you go there. I'm like, just stay to your lane and do your thing. So I'm like walking. We get there. I give my passport, I give my ticket, you know, I'm like, I'm all clear. I'm actually clear. The woman is really nice and like, okay, cool, have fun in your Christmas, your family, blah, blah, blah. I step aside. I don't know why I'm dancing. Okay, so I step aside and then this person who was going with me, it's his turn. So he gives his passport, he gives his ticket, and she goes, what's your name? He goes, blah, blah, blah. Well, it doesn't say that in your passport. I'm like, ooh, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? You know, like, oh, it doesn't have your middle name in your ticket. He goes, oh, well, that is my middle name. We were like, okay, so is this a big situation? Like, what do we do? I'm like, oh, wait, I'm gonna go get my manager. This manager comes, he's this Asian looking guy. Okay, so pretty much I can let you go in, but if the home security, or like, you know, the massive security people who checks all your stuff, like, you know, if you have like open packets or open shampoo, you're like, get rid of that, like, or I can take it. I don't know if they actually take it with themselves, but like I have in both times been taken out from my suitcase and I'm like, that was for my sister. He goes, pretty much, I can let you go in, but the home security people are not gonna be happy about it. And if they actually catch you, they will deport you straight to your country. And he wasn't from Australia. So situation was pretty big. Okay, so we're thinking, what's the solution? Give us the solution. We're the last few people, all right? So we don't have that much time. And he goes, okay, so why don't you go and buy the ticket for this very same flight? We're like, okay, cool. We go. We're like running to the flight center. Poor flight center person. People. So our flight was the end of the night. All the travel agencies were closed. They were absolutely closed. The only ticketing people were these people. This guy, he actually really tried to help. He was like calling up people like, hey, you got that flight, you got that, hey, you do have that, blah, 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 blah. But he could not get us the ticket. But he got one ticket, the only one ticket that we really needed on that same flight, and it was a first class ticket. Ooh. And do you know how much it was? This is the cheapest airline you can ever travel in your whole life. And I would doubt that somebody would compete to that price. Nobody can compete with Air China. And it was $5,000. $5,000 for freaking first class. What do you get? Gold and silver in a pallet? Can you tell me? Like, really? I was freaking surprised. So at this point, my eyes are popping out, you know, like literally in the carton. And then by that time, I had like probably 5 or 10 minutes to make decision whether I should go by myself because I'm all checked in. You know, when you're in that rushed time, like, you know, when you're like playing Kahoot and you only have like 3 seconds, you're like, whatever, 5, whatever the answer, you just don't know what to do. I stayed behind, okay? I stayed behind because I just could not go. And in my mind, I was thinking, I cannot leave right now because the moment I jump into that plane for 8 to 10 hours, I would not have any contact to this universe. So how am I supposed to know what's happening? You know, the fact of being left in the dark, I just could not fathom. So I called Nicole, she comes running in. She's like, why didn't you call the company and change the name? This Asian looking guy, or these airlines people, these people who are actually experienced, they did not tell that to us. Oh my goodness. You guys call yourself experienced? You should go eat shit. But what do? You know, you lost the flight. By that time, even if I had decided to go, it was too late. So we return with our sorry ass. I was so devastated. Like, I mean, at the moment I'm like making fun of it, but I was so devastated because we had just lost like almost $4,000 and like we had so many things planned and we only had limited time, like 3 weeks tight schedule, and we had already lost 1 day or 1 night or 2 days for flight, you know. But who cares about that now? We're in 2021 and I'm still in lockdown. So all night we're looking for flight, and we get the flight for tomorrow. And this flight was even, and this is when the story starts. You know, that swearing part that I was talking about, it's coming now. So we get the flight, and this is a hybrid flight, and I am just giving this a name because I just don't know what that flight is called, but it's a hybrid flight. Pretty much saying when you land for your layover, you pretty much check out completely, like picking up your luggages, your, you know, whatever stuff you have in your hand, and then when you have to get to your second flight, then you have to check in completely. So it's a double of the work. So we are in this hybrid flight. Next day, pretty much around the same time, another cheap flight, because obviously we had just lost some big amount of dollars. We were finally in the flight, no dramas, no hiccups. We were in there, and then we land in Malaysia. Cool, Malaysia, let's go explore Malaysia, because we had 10 freaking hours of layover. But sorry, you cannot, because you have luggages in your hands, and pretty much our luggages were so crap. We couldn't even wheel them. They were so bad. Like, we should have bought a new one, but poor student life in Sydney. So we were pretty poor, and we still are, and I still am. There is no we. Long story short. Anyhow, we're wheeling these really crappy suitcases for 10 hours from one airport to the other, because there were 2 airports in Malaysia. It was a good thing to know because we really needed that information when we're coming back from Nepal, which is a big story, and that's where our climax is. So please continue to listen to my story. We're in Malaysia for 10 hours. We're just walking around with these heavy ass bags, and it's so hot that you're sweating from like all of your glands in your body is actually excreting all the sweat it can produce. And I have nothing else to say about that. You either stick in the airport, you know, enjoy that duty-free life, or if you want to go out, you better just you know, melt like a popsicle. But we somehow survived. Final land to Nepal. We have fun in Nepal. Forget about all this traumatic stuff like, oh, everything is gone. It's done and dusted. We're here, let's forget about it. We have amazing time. Christmas is enjoyed. You know, it's cold Christmas. That's what the Christmas is like. Cold Christmas, winter Christmas. Somebody tell these Aussies, man. So we're coming back from Nepal to Sydney, and this is where the story takes a good turn. Our first flight gets delayed. It's the same hybrid flight where we have to check out completely when we're in Malaysia. So our layover was still in Malaysia. So our first flight from Nepal gets delayed for an hour. And that gave us a very small window during our layover to check out and check in. I think we had around 2 hours in total, but after the delay, it got shortened. So we were freaking out, but hoping that, you know, you playing your mind game again. It was like, oh, nothing gonna happen because we survived the trauma. We should survive this again. Like, what is the big deal? What's the worst? No, honey, listen to my story. So we land in Malaysia. Another backstory. We were in our Sherpa clothing from Nepal because it's obviously, like I said, it was wintry Christmas, right? And we land in Malaysia and we're like popsicle again, like popsicle. And we had such a short time that we just didn't have time to just get changed. We were planning to get changed in Malaysia, like that was our plan because we knew how hot it was, but we just had no time. We were like rushing through the crowd, sidelining people like, come on, we gotta go. Checking out, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many freaking people. How come we didn't beat it? And it was middle of the night, so there were less staff on the ground, so it was a little bit difficult to like navigate, you know? So I'm like, what the heck? Like, we really need to go. We walked through disability line. We walked through disability line. Like we asked the staff, like, can we go through this disability line because we really need to go so that we don't miss our flight. And then she's like, okay, go. So we're running, and there's this guy in the cubicle. It's like, hey, so hi, how are you? How's it going? You know, our flight's gonna miss. So this is our ticket. This is blah blah blah. And he goes, you need a visa. I'm like, what the heck? We didn't need a visa before. Like, what do you mean? But like, we had no time to argue, right? So I was like, okay, where can we get the visa? Transit visa, apparently. He just gives a sign like this. I'm like, what? Like, okay, follow the sign. And then we find this a booth, and apparently there's something about visa in the board. So that's how we figured it out. I'm like, okay, we need a transit visa. What can we do? And this woman, because I was showing my ticket, our ticket, in our phone, I think she just didn't understand. So, and she wanted a paper copy or whatever, because she literally made us to go take a tram, literally a tram like the one in Kensington to the city, like go this oval room like in Hogwarts, you know, go somewhere to this fancy lounge where I could print out our ticket, like just for one freaking ticket in paper. She made us travel all the way to the tram, to the oval room, to this fancy lounge to print our ticket. That took so much of our time at this lounge. We were like, can you please give us our ticket? Can you please actually print it out? Can you please? I'm like jittery. This guy over the counter, he was asking money, which I didn't initially understand what he was saying. And then I'm like turning to him like, what the heck is he saying? Like, we need to go. And I think he saw how frantic I was going. He's like, okay, fine. Then he got our ticket, and then we run back through this oval room, through the tram, to this woman with our ticket, and this woman was gone. And there was this another guy, and he was really sweet actually. He started having conversation with us, but we just didn't have any time to have that conversation. She was like, can you please give us our transit visa? And then we run back to that booth, give us our transit visa. We come out of that airport. We knew, we did our research, so we had to go from one airport to the other airport to get to our terminal. That was one good information we got out of that 10 hours of layover. So we're running out of the airport. There's the bus over there, transit, like we're waiting for the transit bus. We get in there. As soon as the bus came to the second airport, we took our bag, and it was like everywhere, like, you know. And mind you, this whole time we were still wearing this Sherpa clothing. Get this story, okay? Running in our Sherpa clothing and with a luggage that barely had any wheels on them. Like, by this time our wheels were so far gone, and we were pretty much dragging our luggages with us, and our terminal was way far from the entrance of the airport. And that was another story. Once we had our luggages and everything checked in, we just ran, we just sprinted with like our bags in our hands, like, because we knew that the gates were gonna get closed anytime, and we had no track of time. This whole time as we were frantically running for a transit visa, visa, for, you know, whatever, like paper ticket that this woman couldn't understand my digital ticket. I was just going off at people. I'm like get lost, like I need this, I need that, like freaking receptionist, give my printed ticket, you know. I was just going off. And you know, when you're like so angry, you talk to yourself like bloody hell. Finally we get to our gate and there were 5-6 people still lining up. I just knew that when we got there that we actually made it. I was so exhausted. I was thirsty, my throats were so dry, like my hair was everywhere and my clothes were full of sweat. It was just so crappy moment, and when I look back, it's funny, and I survived. I'm patting on my shoulder because, man, you girl, you did it. If it wasn't for you running your ass off, you would not have made that flight, for real. So I'm talking to myself here. You did it, girl, you did it. If you did it then, you're gonna do it again. Boom. This is my story of 2019. This is 2 days before New Year's, okay? We wanted to celebrate Christmas with our family and then come home and celebrate New Year's in, obviously, Sydney. This is the hub of New Year's, you know, the big massive fireworks and even the bushfire was happening. We come here 2 days before 2020. That was the beginning of the end. Not really, but you know what I mean. 2020 has been crappy, but I'm not gonna say anything about that. But I hope I entertained you for today, and I am entertained myself, you know. That's my quality, that's my specialty. I entertain myself and I would love to entertain you guys as well. So stay tuned for more stories like these because I have way too many of them and I have to sort them out with color coordinated files. Stay tuned. See you in my next vlog.